Munich is an amazing, beautiful city, and you'll be surprised. The weather is actually nice, and I had the best summers ever in Munich with clear blue skies, fresh air, winters with a lot of snow actually. So not much colder than Milan. So yeah, it's an amazing and lovely city.
The voices of two Bocconi alumni at different stages of their careers, working in one of Germany's leading business hubs, Munich. Munich is not only a beautiful city, it is also a place where tradition and innovation meet. Its economy is shaped by an ecosystem of various sectors, from automotive, engineering, technology, finance, consulting, and multinational companies, just to mention a few. But what does it really mean to work in a city like Munich? What kind of opportunities can Bocconi students and graduates find there? Which skills can help young professionals build credibility and grow in the long run? These are some of the questions you'll get answered to in The Takeoff, the podcast that shares with you stories and tips to live and work abroad through the real experiences of Bocconi alumni. I am Giulia Canestrelli from Bocconi Career Services, and in this episode I will take you through what's like to work and live in Munich through the stories of Francesca Gradara, manager in corporate finance at Boston Consulting Group. Hi Francesca, welcome to The Takeoff.
Ciao Giulia, thanks for inviting me. Super happy to be here.
And through the fresh perspective of Gaia Paissan, M&A Analyst at UniCredit. Hello Gaia, welcome to The Takeoff.
Hi Giulia, really happy to be here.
So, Francesca, Gaia, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself to our listeners. Where are you from and what's your educational path and what do you do now in Munich? Would you like Francesca to start?
Absolutely. So, hello everyone, I'm Francesca, and as Giulia has already said, I'm currently working as a manager in corporate finance and strategy in Boston Consulting Group. I graduated already back in 2018 in the CHEMS International Management Program in Bocconi, and basically started working in finance in a big corporation in Milan. And then after 3 years and a half, almost, I decided to move to Germany for a mix of personal and professional reasons. And actually BCG is what brought me to Munich because I also lived for a bit in Frankfurt before. And now it's already 4 years that I live in this amazing city.
And it seems like a fascinating journey you have done. Gaia, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, sure. Hi again, my name is Gaia. I come from Trentino Alto Adige and I graduated Bocconi both for my bachelor and my master's. My master's in finance, I graduated in 2025. I moved to Munich 2 years ago, where I joined UniCredit as an M&A intern, and I was then converted full-time. And I work full-time at UniCredit almost since a year. I really like Munich as a city. I'm really happy to start my professional career here.
Let's now go into the interesting stuff. Munich is often seen as a city where tradition and innovation meet. Francesca, what was the biggest challenge you had to face when you moved here?
Yeah, well, indeed, one challenge for me at the beginning was having to deal with a lot of bureaucracy and admin tasks while actually working full time, such, registering in the city, the famous Anmeldung, changing the car plate, setting up the private health insurance, arranging car insurance. So I really sometimes found it a bit challenging that people, for example, were not always comfortable speaking in English with me, which made actually some admin processes a bit more difficult. And then on a more personal note, I also missed at the beginning, the spontaneity and the flexibility that I associate more with the Italian culture.
Gaia, I would also like to do the same question to you. What was the biggest challenge you had to face back in 2024?
To be honest, for me, the transition was overall quite smooth. I felt really good in terms of profession, but also in terms of personal life. And I had already lived in Germany before. But if I had to mention one adjustment, it was more, as Francesca said, the practical side. Because in Germany, a lot of things are still a lot traditional. There is a lot of bureaucracy. A lot of things are still paper-based. You have to send a letter to the municipal offices and to go to in-person appointment during working hours. So that really complicates things, especially if you also consider that everything is closed on Sundays, both supermarket and regular shop. You need to combine everything on Saturdays. And if you have straight deadlines as in investment banking, this can complicate things quite a lot, but you will learn a lot to be organized and disciplined with your time. So that's good at least.
Yeah, so just to summarize, let's say the main challenge is bureaucracy and try to combine, as you said, the personal life, the professional life with the bureaucracy or documents, form filling, etc. And talking about the job market, usually the job market in Munich is described through the expression Munich mix. That is a business ecosystem where traditional industry, innovation, finance, consulting, and multinational companies are strongly connected. Francesca, from your point of view, what kind of opportunities can Bocconi students and graduates find in this environment?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was thinking that, to be honest, I never heard about Munich Mix, but I absolutely agree with the expression because Munich has, in the end, a lot to offer. And I think what it makes it interesting for actually Bocconi students is the breadth of opportunities. So basically, you have, for sure, the big names of financial institutions, insurances like, I don't know, Allianz, Munich Re, UniCredit, Then beyond finance, of course, you have the consulting firms, you have the global tech companies, right? So you have the Microsoft, Amazon of these worlds with significant hubs. You have the industrial giants, that's very nice, like, the BMW, Siemens, and there's like, as big corporations, there's also a real demand for a mix of profiles. So perfect, for Bocconi students. And there's also growing startup ecosystem, especially in sustainability. And on top of this is interesting enough. Munich is, really a rich city, right? So I actually believe it's the top amongst German cities, and people often overlook, for example, family offices. So it's a niche, but it's also really interesting from my opinion. There's real estate, which is huge. Bottom line, not to continue forever. If you come with a Bocconi background and you're kind of open-minded, I would say it's a city that can surprise you and you can literally find anything.
And Gaia, from fresh perspective, from an early career perspective, you entered the Munich job market in 2024, so almost 2 years ago. What would you suggest to students who are trying to take their first step into finance in Munich?
So from my perspective, the most important thing is to start early and build as many as possible in working experiences. In fact, Germany and Italy are quite different in terms of work experience. German students start already pretty early, gaining internship or professional experience in general. They start already in their bachelor and then continue in their masters. And some of them even do internship during their high school. So if you want to kind of differentiate yourself from this German student, of course, the Bocconi brand is pretty strong, but you also need to come prepared with a couple already of internship experiences before.
I think we are setting the scene here. We've talked about the opportunities the Munich job market can offer. Francesca, once you enter this market, what really helps you succeed and build credibility and, of course, grow in the long run?
So, to be honest, I would say my answers here, could be even a bit independent from where you decide to work and the city. But let's say for building, being successful in the long run, I think it's very important to know exactly what you want to do and clear up your mind early. So it's, from my point of view, it's super critical because it really saves you time and allows you to make, let's say, professional choices a bit more consciously. Then, of course, the network, hard work, and even a bit of luck. They don't hurt. credibility, I believe you need two things. So at one point, you always need to show real expertise on something, right? Being recognized as someone valuable who brings, let me say, real content into work. And then reputation and track record. So of course, you build them with time, but being, let's say, someone reliable and being consistent in doing good work, it's what for me really pays off.
So let's say to sum up, network, but also proactivity and reliability, etc. And Gaia, talking about skills, what kind of skills did you have at the beginning that you, of course, took from Bocconi University, and were there other skills that you had to develop quickly to break into, of course, your role into finance?
I would say I came in with a pretty solid foundations, especially on the technical side, thanks to Bocconi. So accounting, valuation, corporate finance were definitely there since the beginning. But what really makes the difference, though, is how quickly you learn to apply these skills in a high-pressure environment as investment banking is, because their expectations are pretty high from day one, especially at the junior level. So you need to be, at the beginning, very structured, very detail-oriented, and very reliable in everything that you do. At the same time, I feel like I also strengthened a lot my skills in managing tight deadlines and also communicating with senior team members. But looking back, I was really happy I could do Bocconi and learn everything both on the soft skill but also on the hard skill point of view.
Yeah, of course, talking about soft skills is always something to develop during the career path. Francesca, Gaia, this conversation has been really interesting. I like to conclude with a short, quick-fire question round. Would you like to?
Absolutely, yes.
Sure.
So I'll start with my first question, that is, how important is German to live and build a career in Munich?
Okay, I'll start. So in the short term, very useful. In the long term, I would say it's essential. So you do not need to find a job for sure. I mean, the example, and also to grow, for example, to middle management. But I strongly believe that you get to a ceiling at one point if you can speak it properly, especially in more senior roles.
Gaia, what do you think?
In my view, is really useful, especially for integrating into the daily life and building especially strong relationship. That's for sure. But in some specific industry, you can definitely start your career also without German. Though I think in some industries, especially private equity, you need to speak German, yes.
Okay. And my second question would be, is there one myth about Munich that is totally true?
I can start. So I would say that weekends are all about beers and traditional outfits, which is actually true. But that's really the beauty of it. I fell in love with this culture since I came to Munich, and I really enjoy my weekends at some beer fest, singing traditional songs and drinking Munich beer.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. Actually, what is true is that Munich is an amazing, beautiful city, and you'll be surprised. The weather is actually nice, and I had the best summers ever in Munich with clear blue skies, fresh air, winters with a lot of snow, actually. So not much colder than Milan. So yeah, it's an amazing and lovely city.
And that's incredible. And my last question would be if you'd like to share with us one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self and, of course, to Bocconi students and graduates aiming to work in Munich.
Yeah, for me, this is easy. I would say move there earlier. So move immediately to Munich. So good that Gaia, for example, did it immediately. Learn to speak German almost at a native level to ensure that you get all the doors open.
Gaia, would you like to share something?
Yes, exactly. I totally agree with Francesca. German is super important. So ramp up with that. I know Bocconi has some classes also in German. So it's very useful to take them. And then, of course, be proactive and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Even if you don't know German, you can come here, you can learn it, you get to know people, and don't be afraid.
Francesca, Gaia, thank you. Thank you for your time. It was a real pleasure having you on the Takeoff, Tales and Tips to Work Abroad, and to share your stories and help our listeners plan their careers. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you for inviting us. was very nice.
Amazing, Giulia. It was really a pleasure sharing my experience today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
In this episode, we've learned that Munich is a city where tradition and innovation meet, and where the so-called Munich mix offers a wide range of opportunities across different industries. Entering this market requires preparation and proactivity, starting early, building practical experience, and being ready to apply technical skills in a high-performing environment. Finally, German may not always be essential to start, but in the long run, it will definitely help you. The Takeoff is available on all major podcast platforms. Join me for the next episode, where I will take you on a journey to discover what it's like to work and live abroad with our Bocconi alumni. I am Giulia Canestrelli from Bocconi Career Services. Thank you for listening.